I was lucky to grow up in a fairly large house. One of those old homes with long hallways, lots of rooms, and strange corners that kids love to turn into play areas or places of fear. My parents bought it when I was about 7, and from then on, my siblings and I grew up running through the halls and hiding in its many nooks and crannies. One of those rooms was in the back of the first floor. It didn't have a door, just a large arched entrance, as if it had once been part of a bigger living room. My siblings and I called it the second living room, or just the little room. It didn't have a TV or toys or anything particularly fun, just an old, creaky recliner, a wobbly wooden side table, and a medium-sized dark green sofa. Stained with age, it was barely used. Sometimes my parents sat there to read or take phone calls, but most of the time it was empty. No one went in there unless they had a reason. One morning, I woke up with a sore throat, chills, and a lightheaded feeling. I felt awful. I told my mom I couldn't go to school, and after checking my temperature, she agreed and told me to stay home and rest. It was one of those weekdays when the house feels extra silent. My siblings went off to school, and my parents left for work as usual. I was completely alone. I spent a couple of hours drifting in and out of sleep, watching cartoons on low volume, bundled up to my neck in blankets. Everything felt normal until around 10:30 a.m., when I heard something that shook me fully awake. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate steps coming from the first floor, right below my bedroom. At first, I wasn't alarmed. Maybe my mom had decided to go in late for work, as she sometimes did. Or maybe she forgot something and came back to grab it. I got up, thinking I'd grab something to eat, maybe some cereal or cookies. But as I headed downstairs and crossed the hallway into the kitchen, something changed. Just as I stepped through the doorway, I stopped dead in my tracks. Standing in the middle of the room was a man, tall, lanky, his clothes filthy and torn, hanging off him like damp rags. His hair was long and matted, and his face completely blank. No emotion. He just stared at me, not moving, not blinking. Silence. Absolute silence. My legs froze. It felt like time had stopped, and I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or awake. We stared at each other like that, locked in place, for what felt like hours, but it was only seconds. Then pure animal panic took over. I turned and bolted upstairs like something was chasing me. I slammed my bedroom door, locked it, and shoved my dresser in front of it like a barricade. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. And instead of calling the police like I should have, I called my mom. I screamed into the phone, crying that someone was in the house, that he wanted to hurt me, that I didn't know how he'd gotten in. My mom, terrified, yelled back not to leave my room under any circumstances, and to call the police immediately. I did. Those next 15 minutes were the longest of my life. No more footsteps, no doors, no sounds, just my ragged breathing. I hid in my closet, phone in hand, until I finally saw police lights flashing through the window. I ran downstairs the moment the officers entered. I told them everything, word for word. They searched the entire house, every room, every closet, every crawl space, but found nothing. No intruder, no sign of a break-in. Everything was intact. My parents arrived soon after, pale and furious. They couldn't believe no one had caught the guy. I felt the same. Angry, confused, but mostly grateful to be alive. Just as the officers were getting ready to leave, one of them passed by the little room and noticed something odd. A Walmart bag barely sticking out from under the old green sofa. He knelt down to get a better look. What he found was worse than anything we could have imagined. Beneath the sofa, that same old sofa nobody ever used, were piles of garbage bags, rotten food, dirty wrappers, stained towels, empty water bottles, even a bag full of urine. But the most disturbing part? They found some of our things. A box of my mom's wet wipes. A flashlight I thought I'd lost. A bottle that had gone missing from the pantry. Things the intruder had been taking, little by little, without us noticing. He'd been living there, under the couch, for weeks. How didn't we notice? How did no one smell it, or hear him, or see the tiniest movement? After that, we cleaned that room out completely. We threw everything away. The couch, the chair, the table, gone. We turned it into a breakfast nook with wooden chairs, impossible to hide under. We secured every window, changed all the locks, installed cameras. My parents still feel guilty for not noticing sooner. As for me, I try not to think about it too much, though sometimes I still do, especially when I wake up coughing in the middle of the night, because sometimes in the deepest corner of my mind, I wonder, was he already under there the first time I ever sat on that couch?